Hi everybody, it's AlsoAshley. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to talk about metaphors, allegories, similes, similarities, metaphorical connections, story time. Let's talk about story time. And at the end, maybe my story will have a deeper meaning. Strap in for a second. Let's talk about Steve. Let's imagine that you're a person named Steve, and you decided to get a new job. So you go to this giant building, big warehouse in the bottom, thousands of people work in this big office building, and you just got hired, starting your first day of work. So you go up to the counter, you get your ID badge, security guard at the front looks down at your name, and he goes, "Oh, a Steve, huh? Steve." Out of curiosity, you're like, "Oh, yeah, Steve. What do you mean? That felt a little off. Something up? Did I do something wrong?" So the security guard goes, "Well, yeah, I mean, Steve's usually intentionally crush people to death with forklifts." So as Steve, you're like, "Oh, what? Is that true? Is there a lot of Steves that intentionally crush people with a forklift? Did that happen here?" Security guard's like, "I think so. Pretty sure. Heard it from somebody, but all I know is that, like, Steves typically crush people to death with a forklift." So you take your badge and you head up to your office and you're thinking in your mind, like, okay, bit awkward, bit weird. Obviously, I'm not whoever that Steve was, but I'm going to kind of just like move on from this, continue living my life. I'm going to go do my job. So you're working at this office for a couple weeks, maybe, getting to know everyone a little bit. There's a little bit of awkwardness, but you just chalk it up to like, you're new, you know? They don't really know you yet, so once you get to know you more, things will get a little smoother. It's taking a little while, but you're getting there slowly. Some folks, connected with you right away. Some folks still kind of ignoring you. They'll get over it, right? It'll be fine. But then you start to notice something very strange around the office. About half the people you meet really seem to like you, seem to be okay with you, tolerate you. If not, maybe kind of friendship starting to form. The other half, not only ignoring you, but pretty much avoidant. Really avoidant. Don't even know that you're there. Don't even come to your floor. Maybe pick up an occasional quip from one or two of those folks. It's fascinating. They don't even know you yet, right? One day you're around the water cooler and everyone's kind of making jokes, they're sitting there making jokes and talking as one does at the water cooler, as I'm told by sitcoms. And somebody goes, yeah, I heard about a accident with a forklift. Not our Steve though. And everyone kind of laughs. They all kind of laugh and they're like, yeah, not our Steve. And you as Steve, you sit there looking around like, the f***? Why am I involved in this? What's going on? So you try and get clarity and you're like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, I just heard about, forklift accident again. I just wanted to point out that it wasn't you. It wasn't a Steve. Not our Steve. So you're like, oh, okay. Weird thing to bring up. Little weird reaction from everybody, but got it. Try to return to normal for a bit. You go look up, like, is there a forklift accident recently? Yeah, a couple states over. Some guy named John. What the does this have to do with me? You're thinking. You try not to think on it too much. You kind of push it aside. Continue just doing your work. Monday rolls around and a memo pops into your inbox and it's like, hey, this is just your boss. Just a couple things in this email. You might notice a couple memes in here. Pretty funny. They're pretty funny memes, but just wanted you all to know that Steve didn't crush anybody to death with a forklift today. Here's actually a list of all the people that did get crushed to death by someone using a forklift, but it wasn't our Steve. Not our Steve. Just wanted you all to know that. So now, you're starting to get a sense that everyone's thinking about you crushing somebody to death with a forklift. In a building in which you don't ever use a forklift, or have ever considered using a forklift, it's not even on your radar, But now as you're walking around the office, you're picking up on kind of a sense of that. everyone just keeps bringing up how, our Steve wouldn't do that. Our Steve's not here. Our Steve wouldn't, crush anyone with a forklift. I want you all to know that. But the more and more that that's brought up and talked about, the more and more you start to realize I can't escape conversations about forklifts. Why the fuck is everyone connecting me to a forklift? Why is it on everyone's mind? How do I keep getting dragged into water cooler conversations about fucking forklifts? Even the people that are trying to be positive are constantly bringing up how I don't ride around in forklifts. They're sharing jokes and memes about how I'm not in a forklift, and now I'm starting to worry that if someone named Steve in a different state rides around on a forklift at all, suddenly this entire office building is gonna fucking turn on me. But some of the people in the office try to quell your thoughts. They can sense that you're a bit thrown off, and they're like, hey, calm down. We've said, not our Steve. Not our Steve. Just want to remind everyone that, And you want to sit there and just go, I didn't choose forklifts. My life had nothing to do with forklifts, and now they are connected in a way that I cannot avoid. What the fuck? Every day you're now looking in those memos, waiting for the boss to make an announcement or talk about it. Worried that the moment that name pops up, more of the population in your building is going to churn against you, not want to have a conversation, become more and more distant as everyone seems to be. Because half the building is suddenly starting to think, maybe you shouldn't be around a forklift. Maybe you shouldn't be anywhere in the building. Maybe you should change your name from Steve, because we all seem to notice that forklifts and Steve keep appearing in the same sentence. And maybe physically in the real world. And as Steve, you're starting to realize, even the allies, even the folks on my side, are sharing jokes about this. They're like, we just want you to know, as a supporter of Steve, that whenever we think of forklifts, we also want to point out and bring up Steve. We just want to, make you all aware of him. He has nothing to do with it, though. But we want to make sure that you know Steve's there. He's always there. We're allies of him. We're just saying, not as Steve. Now, I would imagine as Steve, you might start to get pretty goddamn exhausted from that. You might just want to disappear and never interact with the outside world because you feel like a puppet on a string, not only being associated with something you don't want to be associated with, but also you have most of that office building looking at you, waiting for you to glance or look at or be around a goddamn forklift. And that is a stressful state to exist in, isn't it, as Steve? Here's the thing about the story I just told you. Many of you have probably already made assumptions as to what I'm talking about, what that actually meant, what I'm saying and how offensive it might be. But what I've given you is basically just a general blueprint of what it feels like to exist being trans in any capacity, on any subject, regardless of whether that's forklifts or any other crime, positive thing, hobby, space. And the focus in that is really along the lines of allyship. I'm never going to say don't be an ally when you can be an ally. But I do think there are better ways to do it and better ways to be supportive. And you probably think that that story was heavier leaning towards a more notable thing that happened in the past month or so in America. But I'm going to tell you that maybe Steve's name wasn't Steve. Maybe his name was Mr. Queen, like Doug Queen. So maybe everybody was saying, not a Doug Queen, Or maybe Steve's name was like Topher Rands, but they all call him T. So not our T Rands. We just wanted you to know, not our Doug Queen or not our T Rands. We want to include them in the conversation anyway, regardless of whether it relates to them or not. But we just want you to know, like, not, though. What am I saying with this? Just trying to give you a different perspective. Trying to relate to some of you, but also hopefully opening up some folks' minds as to how they can be better supportive, what maybe they shouldn't do. Before I get any flack, there is a massive difference between a drag queen and a trans person, but from a certain side of the country, there isn't. And a bigot's going to be a bigot to either one of those folks. And I think I'm saying on a more specific level, we have got to stop using not a drag queen or not a trans person. Because you may have noticed from the story, by continuing to drag them into the story, they become a part of it. And statistically, Steves don't really crush people to death with forklifts. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed story time. That was a weird one, right? Ashley, what a f***ing weird thing you just did. Maybe. Please share, like, subscribe. I really want to keep doing this for a living, so it really helps if you get me out there and support me. I love y'all. Be hot. Resist fascism. Oh, jeez. I really hope people get it. Like, I hope they get, like, I'm still trying to make light of everything as best I can, but it doesn't matter what I say. Everything I say gets political. It's just where I'm at. You know what I would love to do? You know, I'd love to exist in a world where I can just come on here and look hot, but y'all are making me talk too much.